Welcome to the deep dive, everybody. We are so glad to have you with us today.
Yeah, really excited to get into this one.
So I want you, the listener, to think about this for a second. Mathematically, 1 hour is exactly 4% of your day. Just 4%.
Which is, it's a tiny fraction of the time we actually have available.
It really is. Yet, we will so easily just surrender hours and hours to scrolling or falling down these weird internet rabbit holes, right?
Yeah.
Or just complaining about how stuck we feel in our routines.
Oh, absolutely. It's so easy to lose that time.
Right. But the second it comes to claiming that exact same 4% for ourselves, for our own deliberate growth, we just completely freeze.
Yeah, we suddenly don't have the
Right.
time.
Exactly. So today, we're looking at a really practical, totally no-hype system designed to break that paralysis based around a single daily habit.
And we are pulling this framework from a really comprehensive audiobook transcript called 1 Hour a Day Can Change Your Life. This comes to us via the YouTube channel Audiobook Spot.
Yeah, and our mission for this deep dive is to basically extract the actionable nuggets from this source. We want to unpack how dedicating just 60 minutes a day can shift you from just, surviving your schedule to actually building your future.
Which is such an important distinction, because what stands out about this material is, well, it's very grounded. There's a distinct lack of productivity theater here.
Oh, totally. No toxic hustle culture.
Right. It doesn't ask you to overhaul your entire personality overnight. It's really just a framework for building intentionality. The magic isn't even in the hour itself, honestly. It's in what the hour forces you to become.
Okay, let's unpack this because to actually utilize that 4%, you have to claim the time first.
Yeah, you have to actually take it.
Right. And the source argues that the battle for your day is essentially won or lost the very second you wake up. It all starts with the alarm
The
clock.
dreaded alarm clock.
Exactly. And specifically, the trap of the snooze button. And I love this, the author doesn't just treat hitting snooze as losing 10 minutes of sleep. It's actually framed as giving away ownership of your day to distractions and excuses.
Yeah, that is the core psychological mechanism at play there. When your alarm goes off, that's really the first conscious decision of your day.
Right.
If your immediate response is to hit snooze, you are effectively training your brain to retreat from friction. You're letting your most exhausted, least motivated state dictate your behavior.
It feels like hitting snooze is basically handing the steering wheel of your life over to a tired toddler.
That is exactly what it is. You're letting the toddler drive.
But let me push back on this a little bit because,
Yeah.
is this just another one of those rigid, like, you must wake up at 4 a.m. to be a successful human tropes?
Right, the whole 4 a.m. club thing.
Yeah, because you, the listener, you might be busy. Maybe you work a late shift or you're managing a household of kids. That early morning hustle culture can feel, incredibly alienating.
It can, yeah. It's a highly valid concern. But the framework we're looking at actively works against that 4 a.m. extreme.
Okay, good.
Yeah. What's fascinating here is that this isn't about being some extreme early bird machine. It is entirely about life management rather than just time management.
Oh, I like that. Life management.
Right. The focus is on the psychological tone of that first decision you make, regardless of what time the clock actually says. Waking up when you say you will builds internal control.
Proving to yourself that your actions don't need permission from your feelings.
Exactly. You don't have to feel energized or excited to get out of bed. You just execute the instruction you gave yourself the night before.
And the compounding math of that consistency is what really grabbed my attention in this transcript.
The numbers are pretty wild.
They are. One focused hour a day equals 30 hours a month. Or over a year, that is 365 hours of deliberate growth. While, other people are stuck in the exact same complaints they had a year ago.
The momentum of that is undeniable. But securing the time is really only the prerequisite. The far more complex challenge is navigating what to do once you actually have that hour.
Right, because you can't just stare at the wall.
No, exactly. The source transitions here from managing time to managing attention.
Which brings up the deception of distraction. The author warns that distractions don't always look like distractions.
yeah.
Yeah, they were disguises. Exactly. They look like notifications or checking who liked a post or, doing these small, meaningless tasks that make you feel productive but lead nowhere.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the source points out that your life always moves in the direction of your attention.
Wow. Yeah.
Being busy is often just movement.
Yeah.
It's friction masking itself as forward motion, but being focused is actual progress. And when you truly focus, you can no longer hide behind those excuses.
Because busyness acts as a shield. Which brings us to Chapter 4's concept of building versus just surviving.
Right? The building phase.
The author is adamant that this hour shouldn't be used to clear your inbox. It needs to be used to build something meaningful, like your health, your mind, a skill, or even just your peace.
Yeah, moving from maintenance to building is a complete psychological pivot.
So I have to ask you, the listener, are you spending your daily energy chasing short-term comfort, or are you investing your attention where your future actually grows?
That's the real question.
It is. And to make sure it's the latter, the source provides 3 specific pillars to put into this hour. Basically 3 actions: learning, moving, and reflecting.
Let's start with the first pillar, the mind. The instruction here is to learn one useful thing every single day.
And just to clarify, the source says this doesn't mean you have to read 10 books a week. It could literally be one paragraph that just hits hard enough to change your behavior.
Yeah, because from a psychological standpoint, fear is usually just a symptom of a knowledge gap. We feel anxious when we're confused about the next step.
Right, the unknown.
Exactly. So by learning one useful thing daily, you're clearing up that confusion. You're neutralizing the fear.
Fear is just confusion waiting for an education.
Oh, I love that.
I love that. So let's jump to the second pillar, generating momentum through the body.
Yes, the physical side of things.
And the source is quick to say, this is not about looking good in a swimsuit. It's purely about waking up fully, right? Pushing that physiological fog out of the brain.
Right. Movement forces blood flow and alters your neurochemistry.
But here's where it gets really interesting. The source makes this counterintuitive claim about motivation.
Yeah, this totally inverts how we usually think about it.
Right. Most people wait for motivation to move. They wait until they feel energized to start the workout. But the source insists that motivation actually shows up after you move.
Action precedes feeling. If you wait for your brain to naturally produce the desire to do something difficult, you'll be waiting forever.
You really will.
But when you force yourself into motion, when you take the step despite feeling uninspired, you actually generate that neurochemical reward through the effort itself.
So you're rewiring your brain's motivation centers in real time.
Exact.
Okay, that leads us perfectly to the third pillar, the silent check-in, or basically radical honesty. And honestly, reading through this, it seemed like the hardest part.
No, without a doubt. It's the most demanding because it forces you to slow down. The instruction is to sit quietly without your phone, without music, and just ask yourself hard questions.
Like, what am I avoiding right now?
Yeah.
Or what am I actually angry about?
Yeah. The modern mind actively rebels against that kind of silence.
It feels dangerous, almost, just sitting there with your own thoughts.
It feels dangerous because silence removes the camouflage of busyness. But you have to face your inner world because it dictates your outer results. Running fast in the wrong direction is still the wrong direction.
Yeah, you can be checking off all the boxes, but if the ladder is leaned against the wrong wall, it doesn't matter.
Precisely. It's a diagnostic tool.
Okay, so we've got the perfect morning hour, we've got the 3 pillars.
Yeah.
But life obviously pushes back. Right, so the source offers 2 vital tools to clear the roadblocks and maintain the system: confronting avoidance and tracking reality.
Let's talk about the avoidance piece. The author calls this the unfixed problem.
We all have one of these. The conversation we keep delaying, the boundary we haven't set yet.
Yep, it's that issue you keep mentally running away from.
And the source points out that avoiding it quietly drains your energy and steals your drive. It's like a background app eating your phone battery.
Exactly. Every time you delay it, you reinforce a narrative of powerlessness. But fixing it doesn't need to be some dramatic event.
Right. A single phone call or just making a firm decision can bring immense relief and clarity.
It frees up all that trapped cognitive bandwidth. Which brings us to the execution side. The power of paper tracking.
Cracking, yes.
If you don't track your behavior, you are guessing. And if you guess, you are relying entirely on emotion.
Which is a terrible record keeper. So what does this all mean for the framework? The source gives a very specific instruction. You have to write this down on paper.
Physical paper, yeah, not an app.
Right. Because the notebook doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't care that you were tired.
This raises an important question, though. How consistent are you, really?
Objectively speaking.
Right. Tracking for just 30 days reveals your hidden patterns. And it's not about inducing guilt or judging yourself.
No, not at all.
It simply shifts the focus to owning your reality. Because what gets measured gets improved.
And what gets improved gets repeated. Which actually brings us to the ultimate goal of this entire source material.
The identity shift.
Exactly. You repeat the habit, not just to get a temporary result, but until it literally changes your identity. You don't just write every morning. You are a writer.
You don't just run, you are a runner.
The friction dissolves because the action just aligns with who you are.
But it's important to note, real change is slow, it's quiet, and frankly, it's often boring.
It really is. It's not a movie montage.
No, it's about keeping promises to yourself long after that initial excitement wears off. That is how you build an internal trust that no one can take away from you.
Well said. We've covered so much today about claiming that 4%. But as we wrap up, I want to leave you, the listener, with a final thought to mull over.
Yeah, let's hear it.
The source tells us that your time is a mirror reflecting your priorities. If you were to look into the mirror of your last 24 hours, what exactly would it say your priorities are?
That's a heavy question.
It is. And more importantly, if you took just 4% of tomorrow to change that reflection, who might be looking back at you 365 days from now?
I love that. Small shift, massive compound interest.
Exactly. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today. Go ahead and take your 1 hour today. We will catch you next time.